Are you feeling overwhelmed? Perhaps you lack motivation. Perhaps you're not completing all the tasks that you're setting for yourself. Or perhaps you're not happy with where you are currently in life. I oftentimes find myself feeling extremely overwhelmed. I usually set myself too much to do. Then I get disappointed when I can't perform adequately. This is a toxic downward spiral, which I am all too familiar with. The feeling of being overwhelmed can be boiled down to three things: a lack of structure, no motivation, and a lack of organisation. Low motivation is one of the main culprits for feeling overwhelmed, and there are many different causes for low motivation. We'll go through a few now. Once you identify where the problems are, you can start with the solutions. We'll go through a few now. The main one, which I've been hearing lots about, and I'm sure you might have, is low testosterone. Obviously, as a man, testosterone is part of our normal chemical makeup, and low levels of it can affect you in many detrimental ways, most notably in motivation. You might not be aware of the fact testosterone levels are getting lower and lower every single year. We have less testosterone than our fathers would have had, and this is very detrimental for ourselves and society as a whole. There are many causes, but here are just a few. One of the causes is a lack of exercise-based stimulation. Physical activities such as running, working out, release a chemical hormone called endorphins. This hormone actually blocks the brain's perception of pain, reduces stress, and improves one's sense of well-being. Physical activities, aside releasing endorphins, also increase levels of testosterone. It quite literally is science. Exercise makes you happier, healthier, and increases levels of motivation. Are you yeah, sounds like these are some of the results you'll see on the higher end of the scale. At the lowest end of the scale, at least, it'll make you less depressed. I believe it's necessary for all men to partake in some sort of exercise every single day to improve mood, increase testosterone, general fitness, and most importantly, to increase one's level of motivation. In this case, it's a win-win scenario. If you're a male that's under the age of 30 and you can't do 30 press-ups in a row, then something is incredibly wrong. Low testosterone can also be acquitted for how easy it is for a man to get an unrealistic sexual release. Porn is one single click away, available on every single mobile device that you have. Don't be weak. Our perception of pleasure has been contaminated by the modern world that we live in and with the disgusting state of our society. Every modern day man is constantly bombarded with images, videos, and content of scantily clad women, trying to get some quick dosh from the weak men, or sometimes not even about the money, sometimes just for notoriety and attention. X-rated content has reached an all-time high in terms of accessibility. People are only partaking in these actions for their own personal gain, whether that be money, influence, or attention. Unfortunately, it is a male weakness, which is preyed upon by women and other men alike to encourage the further reduction of one's masculinity. Remember this: if you are consuming something, then someone is profiting from it. You must try your hardest to preserve your sexual energy, at least for real-life sexual encounters. Store it, harness it, and use it to motivate you in other areas of your life where you wish to be successful in regards to finance, business, or the gym. Another symptom of feeling overwhelmed and having no motivation is an extreme lack of discipline. Our modern lives are absolutely littered and infected with constant consumerism. Everything you could ever want is one single click away. The world has never been this advanced, and the human population has never been this lazy. With everything being available from one single click and the constant temptation to consume, discipline is rarer and more important than ever. Our expected levels of gratification are raised to unrealistic heights. Our expectations are also constantly being raised. For example, the average time for which people will be willing to wait for a package is 2 days. Not 3 to 5 business days. 2. People aren't even happy waiting 48 hours for something that they ordered online. These small features, which are now becoming large features, are added to every single business now. How quick can we provide the customer with our product? And the time needed to wait for products, services, and all sorts of goods is getting shorter and shorter. This is not a good thing. These changes are being absorbed subconsciously via our modern lives and training us to be spoilt little brats. For example, in school, there are minimal to no classes which teach you about the basics of discipline, motivation, and preserving self-esteem. We are never taught the importance of such, and I believe they are extremely important subjects, which you probably wouldn't have any comprehension of unless you studied them by choice or enlisted in some sort of martial art. Food and entertainment are the largest areas of consumption. For example, there is an ancient tactic dating thousands of years ago that hierarchies used to control the public population. The name of this is called bread and circus. This is in which the ruler or the governing body provides the public with food, bread, typically high carbohydrate food, such as bread in ancient times or burgers and chips nowadays. These foods make the public tired, lazy, and obese, making us vulnerable bots ready to be farmed for that sweet, sweet dollar. It is proven scientifically that carbs decrease energy and increase health problems due to the food being harder for our stomachs to break down, therefore taking longer and requiring more bodily function, in turn using more energy and leaving you with less. Why do you think you always see the ancient Roman emperors eating grapes and fruit, low carbohydrate, high natural sugar foods? These foods won't make you tired, they won't make you fat, they won't make you lazy, and you certainly wouldn't be able to rule over an empire while living off carbohydrates. The second part of their tactic is to provide the consumer with entertainment. In ancient Rome, it would have been the Colosseum. Nowadays, it's Netflix and TV, YouTube, all a part of this global stage here to promote the ideologies of the founding fathers. Both food and entertainment can be provided to a consumer, a member of the public like yourself, in a record time. Never have we been able to get food and entertainment so quickly, so seamlessly, and so easily, and it's very dangerous. This is just a single minute cog in the whole machine of the system, which is created to trap the public, subdue them, and turn them into an infinite supply of consuming drones. A third cause of low motivation and feeling overwhelmed would be high levels of stress. Everybody gets stressed with the busy lives we live and with the increasing pressure put on everyone to perform to their best, whether this be in education or personal finance or even at your job where you work. Everyone is also able to share their results through the click of a button, and the majority of the time this will only be the good results. As the consumer receiving the images and the content, we get unrealistic expectations and in turn put detrimental amounts of pressure on ourselves and the people around us, in turn causing extreme stress. Remember to always be working and looking to improve every single day. Learn and be inspired by others, but your only competitor is who you were yesterday. Friendly competition is also very good between friends, colleagues, family members. We need this to help us motivate to improve. As men, it's one of our masculine traits. But unhealthy levels of competition can be detrimental for every party involved. Learning to control your ego is a massive step to reducing stress prompted by that around you. Whether it be people or situations, you should always try and act with a clear head. Never act on emotions. Act on facts and realism. Always try to act rationally and reduce the amount of stress in which you consume in your life. If you are friends or acquainted with a stressful individual, or even a negative individual, the only thing you can do for your own health and your own peace of mind would be to distance yourself. Remember not to cut off the people that you love and trust, but distance and time can cure many things. If after 12 months of you seeing them less, and if they are still stressful and negative to be around, and they still let it rub off onto you, and also they still take their problems out on you, then you can now infer that they probably won't change. So you can make an educated decision whether staying acquainted with this individual is benefiting you or having a detrimental effect. It is completely out of your control if someone else is angry. Others' emotions are not in your jurisdiction. It's completely out of your control if someone is angry and tries to stress you out, tries to rub it off onto you. But it is completely under your control whether you let them stress you out or not. It is also completely under your control whether you choose to tolerate it or not. Many people won't believe me when I say that. I'm not saying to act violently. Quite the opposite, actually. Give each other space and time, and then you can reassess the situation and make an educated decision rather than acting on temporary emotions. I have a friend who says all the time when I ask about their addictive habits, their stressful and unsuccessful lifestyle, they reply, "That's just the way I am." And with a mindset like that, that is the way you will die, my friend. Another reason you could be lacking motivation or feeling overwhelmed constantly is by avoiding stressful and uncomfortable situations. It might sound silly. No one likes partaking in activities that make them uncomfortable or situations that make them stressed, or even doing tasks that are deemed difficult. But by avoiding such activities, you are learning to be complacent, and you're also training your brain and body to only partake in easy tasks. You're hardwiring your brain to be lazy. This will result in your mind and body becoming lazy and will make improving even more difficult than it already is. I'm not saying to partake in an activity every day that makes you scream out in pain. I'm just saying to consistently do things that are far from your normal routine and comfort zones. This way, you're training your brain and your body to form more successful habits, in turn setting yourself up for a more successful life. Taking risks is part of the path to improving. Taking risks leads to uncomfortable situations, which isn't always desirable, but these situations are how we learn and grow in every aspect of our life, whether that be working under pressure or working in an unfamiliar environment or working on an unfamiliar topic. I recommend everyone do something new and something that makes them feel uncomfortable every single week. Whether that be adding an extra 5-10 minutes onto your jog in the morning, whether it be hitting a new PR at the gym, or maybe giving yourself more power, pushing yourself further at the gym, whether you wake up 1 hour earlier than you normally would on one random day of the week. Regardless of what it is that you do, make sure whilst working through your weekly schedules, whilst completing your goals, you continue to challenge yourself and you continue to improve and get better. Do not get comfortable doing the same things with the same people. It's a trap that few escape. The final reason for no motivation and getting extreme emotions, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you're not getting anywhere, feeling lost, this can definitely be attributed to having no goals, or at least not having clear goals. A lack of goals and ambitions is the biggest cause of low self-esteem and low motivation, in turn leading you to feel overwhelmed and have an unproductive life. Through setting goals, whether they are short-term or long-term goals, you are giving yourself a purpose and a reason to keep going, a reason for existing, other than just to exist. Without a reason to exist, or without clear-cut goals and ambitions, it's extremely easy to get lost in the monotony of our modern society. And this, unfortunately, is why so many people turn to the quick fixes, which are so readily available. These involve porn, drugs, meaningless sex, alcohol, tobacco, and many other unsavory pastimes and addictions. The price we pay for living in the modern world is there is nothing we can't have, and most people, due to the subconscious programming that we are exposed to as children, take the easy route, even if it negatively affects us in the long run. Doesn't matter, as long as I get stimulated now. Right? The life of an ambitionless human is one of solitude and sorrow, hardly one even worth writing about, and even less worth living. I have had first-hand experiences with many of these themes I've discussed, whether it be addiction, whether it be toxic relationships, which are seemingly impossible to leave in the moment. Luckily, I've been able to take a step back and see the true detrimental nature of relying on instant gratification, and also just for settling with what you have in that current moment. Through first noticing and then challenging this, I was able to realize my full potential and to gain the lust for improvement, which now drives me. If you're wanting to make a change, the first step I would recommend would be to set some goals, long-term and short-term. I have a goal-setting template, which is the second link down in the description. This will cost you nothing and will take you 5 to 10 minutes of your time. All you have to do is fill it out. Be honest, be brutal. Once you've set your goals, it then becomes so much easier to figure out which tasks and activities must be completed to reach those goals. Break those tasks down into small, manageable activities. This is the first few steps I would take to work towards your goals and to boost your motivation and to remove the feeling of being overwhelmed. Remember, it won't happen overnight, but it will never happen if you don't start now. The journey starts with a single step, not with thinking about taking a step. Quote by Jeff Olson. I'll leave with a small anecdote. This morning, I almost came to tears. I remembered a very pivotal moment about 2 years ago. I was working a job I didn't enjoy and wasn't passionate about at all, but it was better than the other typical job that I had done. So I bit my tongue and made do. I would get up super early with aspirations of running miles and breaking records just to have a depressing day at work and ruin all my morale. I felt directionless and fell into a deep depressive state. 2 years later, this very morning, I left my flat at 6:15 for my daily run. Whilst doing my stretches on the way downstairs, I looked out the window and for some reason I was reminded of this time 2 years ago. I was reminded of my time at the job, the good times I had, the many bad times I had, how depressed it made me feel, how much I didn't enjoy it. All of those feelings came flooding back to me in that moment. After processing these emotions, the first thought that came into my mind was how proud the past version of myself would be with me now. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm the most productive I've ever been. But most importantly, I'm the most content and happy I've ever been. This further motivated me to a level which I have not been motivated to before. For the first time ever, I had made myself proud. My past self along with my current self. This wasn't an accident. This is the result of hard work, and it was a beautiful feeling.